The Chase Sapphire Reserved for Business might be one of the best cards out there, but only for certain types of businesses. Today, we'll run through all the features, the pros and cons, and pretty much everything you need to know if you are considering the card. Big favor, give us a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit, share this with them. Starting off with the multipliers, the focus is travel as well as advertising. You're getting 8x points on all purchases through Chase Travel, including the edit by Chase Travel. You get 5x total points on Lyft through September 30th, 2027, 4x points on flights and hotels booked directly, for example, if you go to United's website. These are nice, but not the main reason why people get the card. Instead, the main draw is 3x points on social media and search engine advertising. We'll do a deep dive later on in the video about this since it is a bit of a rabbit hole, but if you have to spend, this can make a ton of sense. Otherwise, you're just getting 1x back on all your other purchases. Next up, we have the annual fee and credits. This isn't a cheap card and you're looking at a $7.95 annual fee. With that said, you do get a ton of credits to help offset this. Some are tangible and others less so. The easiest one is up to 300 installment credits for travel each anniversary year. This is anything that codes as travel and is super broad and easy to use. I think you can, and very reasonably and fairly, value this at the full 300. Next is up to 500 for hotel stays with the edit, and it's a max of up to 250 per transaction, with each being a 2-night minimum required. In effect, you're looking at 4 nights total to use the full credit, which can be a little bit annoying. If you're looking to minimize out-of-pocket, your best bet is Vegas with options like MGM Grand that tend to be a bit more affordable. Tons of reasons why you might want to be in Vegas for work purposes, conferences being the most obvious example, since that's one of the default locations. The credit isn't necessarily bad, but more annoying than I'd like. For 2026, there's also an additional up to 250 installment credits on prepaid Chase Travel on hotels booked with IHG, Montage, and a bunch of other hotels. There also is a 2-night minimum requirement. Note that this does stack with the prior one, so you can trigger this credit and the last one with 4 nights rather than 6. Again, a bit more complicated than I'd like, but still usable. With the next batch, we move more into partner-based ones. The first one is up to 200 annual statement credits for purchases made directly on Google Workspace. I might be biased here, but I've been paying for this for like 10 years now, to the point that my billing address is actually still my Boston address. If you're a professional in tech or you have a small business, it's not abnormal to run your own emails. Given this, I think it's easy to value the full amount, but depends on you, of course. The next one's super easy, but just annoying. It's up to 100 per year in statement credits on giftcards.com/reservebusiness, and it's broken down into up to 50 for January to June, and then July to December. There's a lot of options here, including Chipotle, Fandango, or DoorDash. Also Ulta, Sephora, or Lululemon. I think it is more meant to be an employee gift, but it could also be a gift to yourself. Next is up to 400 for ZipRecruiter, and it's up to 200 for January to June, and then July to December. I don't use ZipRecruiter, so I'd probably value this at 0. I'd be careful not to value credits that you otherwise wouldn't use. For Lyft, it's up to $10 per month and up to $120 total through September 30th, 2027. Rideshare feels a bit easier since that's just one a month. With DoorDash, you get a complimentary Dash Pass membership for 12 months, valued at $120. You do have to activate by December 31st, 2027. If you use DoorDash, then great, but if not, be careful. The last credit is up to 300, and it's broken down into up to 25 per month, which is then broken down into a $5 one and 2 $10 ones. This is through December 31st, 2027. If you use DoorDash, then it's easy value, but if not, it feels a bit forced. There are some other credits that we'll get into, but these are the core annual ones. If it's a bit overwhelming, we do have a calculator. So you can adjust the numbers for your situation, and I'd be brutally honest with yourself, but for a lot of people, you might be surprised and still break even. The calculator also goes through multipliers as well, so you can change the numbers for your spend. If you want to play with the tool, it should pop up if you search AskSebby, CSR Business, and I'll also link it down below. If you do get value, right now, there's a very good limited time offer. You can earn 200,000 bonus points after you spend 30,000 on purchases in the first 6 months from account opening. On the low end, 200,000 bonus points is 2,000 in cash back. Towards travel using Points Boost, you're usually looking at 1.5 and upwards of 2.5 cents per point, which would be 3,000 to 5,000 in travel value. If you do expert mode and transfer to partners, I personally target 2 cents per point. Given this, I'd be targeting 4,000 in value for 200K. If your business has enough spend, then this bonus is well worth considering. On a side note, if you are someone that wants to learn about cards, whether this one or pretty much any other card out there, and you want to support the channel, We have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive and that they make sense for you, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Beyond the annual travel credit, there are some other ones as well. The best example is up to 120 every 4 years for global entry, TSA PreCheck, or Nexus fee credit. I'd personally go for Nexus. The main reason being that Nexus includes the other two as part of it, so you might as well. The main benefit above the other two is that it makes the US to Canada process a lot easier. You also get a bunch of other credits if you spend a decent chunk on the card. So for example, if you hit 120K in spend in a calendar year, then you unlock 4 perks. The first one is up to 500 for the shops at Chase. This is an online shopping portal where there's a mix of brands and items. Next is up to 500 for Southwest Airlines through Chase Travel as a statement credit. On top of this, you also get Southwest A-list status. This lets you select preferred or standard seats at time of booking, and you get extra legroom seats 48 hours from departure for no additional cost. You're also going to be in boarding group 1. On top of this, you get 1 checked bag and also bonus points on flights. Also same-day standby and express lanes. Outside of airline status, you also get hotel status. Specifically, IHG1 rewards Diamond Elite status. This normally requires 70 nights per year, and one of the main draws is 100% bonus points. You also get breakfast as a choice for your amenities and early check-in, which is nice. On top of this, you get reward night discounts and also Hertz President Circle. Jumping over to Hertz, the main benefit is going to be guaranteed vehicle upgrades. President Circle would normally require 50 rentals per year. Back to IHG, if you don't hit that spend threshold, you do still get status. Anyone with the card gets IHG1 rewards Platinum Elite status through December 31st, 2027. A big note though is that it's only for you and not employee cards. The main draw here is early check-in and also points or snacks as a welcome amenity. Mind you that you can also get the status with a $99 annual fee card, so not the biggest deal to me. In a similar lane is car rental status, which is technically through Visa Infinite. For Avis, you get Preferred Plus, which is their mid-level status. People like it for the 1-car class upgrades. With Hertz, you get additional perks, but not a new status by itself. With National, you get perks and also Emerald Club Executive. This is their mid-level status, and you can pick a full-size vehicle and above from their executive area, but only pay the mid-sized rate. Pretty solid overall, especially if you don't have another flagship card. One big draw of the card is access to some Chase perks. A big one is the Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge Network. Chase has lounges in Boston and Las Vegas, New York JFK and New York LaGuardia, also San Diego and VIP lounges in LaGuardia, which is interesting. Philly and Phoenix are options as well, and then Dallas and Los Angeles are coming soon. I am kind of curious which one's going to end up being better, Dallas or LA. These lounges are technically part of Priority Pass, but with other cards, you only get 1 visit per year. With flagship Chase cards, like the Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business, you get unlimited visits, and it's you plus 2 guests. You also get a Priority Pass card as well, and it's you plus 2 guests. Lots of lounges here, but I'd argue the ones in the US tend to be pretty weak compared to Sapphire lounges. In addition, they also have other partner lounges. For example, the Etihad Lounge and Dulles IAD. Also select Air Canada Maple Leaf lounges and cafes in the US, Canada, and Europe. For Air Canada, it's you plus 1 guest. This is only accessible when you're flying Star Alliance, which includes a ton of airlines like United, ANA, Singapore, and Lufthansa. Lots of options, and the SFO Maple Leaf Lounge is considered one of the best for SFO and also within Air Canada. Overall, pretty good options and guesting rules, especially compared to other issuers. Note that employee cards don't get lounge privileges, but that feels fair, especially because you can add up to 99 employee cards for no cost. Beyond this, there are some other perks. For the shopping ones, you get an additional year of extended warranty, pushing it to up to 4 years from date of purchase. You're covered for up to $10,000 for purchase protection for 120 days against damage or theft. Also up to $500 per item or $1,000 per 12-month period for return protection within 90 days. If you have phones, there are a lot of terms and rules for it, but up to $1,000 per claims against theft or damage. Switching to travel, they have baggage delay insurance, which is up to $100 a day and up to 5 days. Lost luggage reimbursement is up to $3,000 per covered traveler for the cost of repair or replacement of checked or carry-on baggage that's lost, damaged, or stolen during the covered trip. Also, emergency evacuation and transportation, and emergency medical and dental, and these coverages are nice, especially if you don't have other travel insurance. In addition, you also get up to $1 million for travel accident insurance. Hopefully you don't need that, but nice to have. The trip cancellation and interruption insurance is pretty strong here at up to $10,000 per covered traveler and $20,000 per trip for your prepaid non-refundable travel expenses. Trip delay reimbursement is set at more than 6 hours, which is best in class right now, and it's up to $500 per covered traveler. They also have roadside assistance and primary CDW for car rentals, but you do need to be using it for business purposes. Pretty much the strong insurance and benefits that you'd expect from a flagship card. There also is Visa Infinite Concierge, but I haven't really used it, but some people love it. On the Chase end, you also get access to Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables, which can be super useful for in vogue restaurants. Last perk is transfer partners. Points transfer at a 1-to-1 rate for a bunch of hotels and airline partners. This would allow you to transfer Chase points to partners like Hyatt. For example, 100,000 Chase points might be 1,000 in cash back, but transferred to 100K Hyatt, it might be worth $2,500 in travel value. It depends on your business, but if you have to travel for conferences, to close clients, or to fundraise, it's nice to have as an option. Going through an example, one of my favorite transfer partners is Hyatt. They did change their program this year, but even with the change, it's still pretty good. Also a reminder that you can obviously use your points for business, but a lot of business owners do transfer the points out for personal use, since the point of making money for your business is eventually paying yourself anyways. Let's take a look at a fan favorite of the Park Hyatt Tokyo. This was featured in Lost in Translation and often considered one of the top point options in Japan. Depending on when you go, the prices can easily float between $900 to $1,500 a night USD. Using points, you might be only looking at 45K points per night. On the low end, $900 divided by 45,000 points is 2 cents per point. In most cases, you're probably looking closer to 2.5 cents per point, which is great value. Another way to frame it is whether you would consider spending $450 in points a good use of points. If not, then totally fine, but for a lot of people, it's worth trying at least once. Another good example of Hyatt is going to be skiing hotels. For example, the Grand Hyatt in Deer Valley. Looking at the calendar for January 2027, it's wide open at 30K for most dates. I only see 5 dates that are higher: 21, 22, 23, 24, and 29. The fact that most of the weekends are 30K is pretty insane. On the other hand, if you were paying out of pocket, and even if you are able to write it off, you might be looking at $1,200 to $1,300 for weekends. Weekdays are a bit better, but $700 still not cheap. For both these numbers, it's pretty insane value. 700 divided by 30,000 points is 2.3 cents per point on the low end, and then 1,300 divided by 30K is 4.3 cents per point. The main draw of points isn't that you're always going to get value, it's that there's opportunities to get outsized value. With Hyatt, it's relatively easy to find these. For flights, it depends on the partner, but let's do some examples with Aeroplan. This is Air Canada's program, and we'll search North America to Asia. Right now, there seems to be a lot of options for Incheon, Korea. This was seen 52 minutes ago with 5 seats, and you're looking at 85K points and $80 Canadian, so about 55 USD. Even though Aeroplan is Air Canada's program, the best use, ironically, is not Air Canada or flying to Canada, but for Star Alliance partners like Oceania. This flight is on their A380. The new product does look decently strong and worth a flight to me, and 85K feels pretty fair. If you did round trip economy, you're looking at about $1,100, so $550 per way. Put another way, you're using about 815 points and then paying the fees for business class per way. Doing this as a round trip, you're looking at 1,800 in points for business and then 1,100 in cash for economy. For a lot of business owners, points lets you do business for a fraction of the price. Taking a look at premium fare deals, which are what people happily pay, LAX to Asia could easily be $2,000 to $4,000 for the round trip, especially when you're starting the flight in the US and not abroad. Your mileage may vary, but for a lot of people, $3,700 for round trip business is a great price. So you could cash out your points for $3,700 and then do that booking with cash, or you can transfer to partners and maybe cover player 1 and player 2 with the same number of points. Best case, you get outsized value, and worst case, cash back is always on the table. Switching it up, let's say we want to go from the US to Europe, you might be looking at 60K points for business, so $600 in points if you were to cash it out. Here it's Boston to Zurich with Swiss in business, and there's about $80 CAD in fees, but feels pretty immaterial. The new product looks pretty solid, and it's on my to-try list. We did try their older product a few months ago, not the nicest seat, but super great service. Main idea is that there's a ton of use cases for transfers, and it just depends on where you want to go and what you want to do. Doing one final example, here we're transferring to Aeroplan again to book with the Star Alliance partner, Brussels Airways, and it's SN, so we're flying from Washington, DC to Brussels. It is a web of stuff that feels super complicated when you're starting, but it gets a lot easier once you do a few redemptions. One final thing I wanted to touch on is ad spend. We are seeing a shifting landscape with Meta following Google's lead and not taking credit cards in some cases. A lot of this does depend on how much you spend, and from what I'm hearing, 50K is the number. If you're below that, let's say 40K to 50K, then you're seemingly fine. I also know a bunch of people at 30K that haven't gotten the email. If you're at 100K plus though, then you're the main target. If you are slightly above, it might be worth asking to see if there's any other options. For example, this person was spending 200K a month and they had the option to downgrade their account to keep using their cards to keep earning points. And of course, if a platform's working for your business, that's still the main focus. That's going to be more important than the points. Still though, it might be worth exploring other platforms, and this ends up being an easy excuse. For example, TikTok or Snap, especially if your audience is a bit younger. A lot of friends that have startups that run 1 million ads per month haven't been happy with this meta change. I guess if I was earning 3 million points a month and able to take any trip I wanted, I probably wouldn't be happy with the change either. I guess it's a good reminder to make hay when the sun's shining, that if something works for your business or for yourself, probably do it sooner rather than later. Windows of opportunity close surprisingly fast. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. And if you're curious, all legal affiliate disclosures can also be found below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a window emoji in the comments down below and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what does your business do and which multipliers matter the most for it? Number 2, which credits, if any, do you value? And number 3, how do you end up redeeming your points? Is it for your business or for yourself or employees or something in between? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favorite, thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.